I want to be totally inclusive. Because the sport of horseback riding is expensive. And not everybody has money to take lessons. And I was like, no, I want them to meet horses or donkeys without having to pay me anything.
That was Liz Beeson-Evans of Caring Cowgirl. I'm Jeff, and this is Storied San Francisco. Every week on this podcast, you'll hear from therapists, writers, artists, and other San Franciscans, telling stories, sharing personal histories, and trying to put into words what makes this city so special. Welcome to episode 21, part 2. In part 1, Liz talked about growing up with horses being a big part of her life. In this podcast, she'll tell the story of getting her two minis, Vanessa the mini donkey and Shakira the mini dwarf horse. Together, they and Liz comprise Caring Cowgirl, a new nonprofit that will offer mini equine therapy to people in San Francisco. Quick note, you can help Liz buy a minivan to transport the minis by donating on her website, caringcowgirl.org. Here's Liz.
Caring Cowgirl, therapeutic mini equine visits. A few years ago, I got my certification as a therapeutic riding instructor, or otherwise known as adaptive riding instructor. So I would work with kids, teens, and adults, but mostly kids that had special needs. So maybe autism or anxiety or cerebral palsy. Some kids were in a wheelchair, and I would bring a horse up to a ramp, and then we would gently lift them onto the horse's saddle and have a horseback riding lesson. And I thought that was so cool. And at the time, we were still living in San Francisco, and I thought, man, this would be so cool for not only the special needs community in San Francisco, but for at-risk youth, for the have-nots, the homeless folks on Market Street, to just have a little moment with an animal. Most people in the city have access to a cat or a dog, but not a mini donkey. So,
and we all watch Parks and Rec.
We watch Parks and Rec, and Shakira looks like somebody we know on that show. So I worked at a nonprofit for a few years, teaching adaptive horseback riding.
And this is still big horses, or
this is still full-size horses.
Full size, okay.
Yeah, full-size horses. And then I just saw a need for horses in San Francisco. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, a full-size truck and trailer and a full-size horse to logistically get it through the city into Golden Gate Park. That'd be a little gnarly. It's possible, but a little gnarly. And I wouldn't be able to get everyone. I want to be totally inclusive. Because the sport of horseback riding is expensive. And not everybody has money to take lessons. And I was like, no, I want them to meet horses or donkeys without having to pay me anything. I just want you to have that access. And so that's when I thought about minis. And I adopted a mini donkey named Vanessa and a dwarf mini horse named Shakira.
So at that point, did you have any experience with minis? Did you have to learn? Was there a learning curve? Or
I had some experience with minis. They had two minis at the therapeutic riding school where I was. But they were just, we call pasture pets. You just looked at them because they were cute, and that was it. You couldn't handle them. I mean, you could, but they weren't very obedient. When I got these minis, I didn't know their background because they had been saved from a kill pen. Right. Which is where they auction off horses, big and small, to meat buyers. 20% of the horse meat consumed in Europe by humans comes from American horse meat.
And then what?
So, anyways,
this is so off topic. I'm just curious. Where, what else? Dog food or? Dog
food. I don't know if this is still true, but when I was younger, it was well known that horse meat goes into glue, into dog food.
For some reason, I thought that was hooves. No, that's gelatin.
Oh, that is possible
Gelatin is made from horse hooves or goat hooves or something.
And then I think I also heard a rumor that like some fast food joints were
always
putting horse meat instead of beef. And
the fast food that like the kids you don't like go to. That's where it's like kangaroo meat and whatever. But yeah. So you had a little bit of experience, and then how did you find
on Craigslist? No, just kidding. I did my research. I did not want to go and buy a couple of minis because I know that there are a lot of kill pins in the United States still that sell to meat buyers. And I thought, I'm sure I can get a cool little couple, right? A cool little matching couple. I wanted a matching couple, being the same height and same color. And so I found a rescue called Fairy Tale Farm Mini Rescue in Gilroy. And I went with my friend Magda, and I said, Magda, do not let me go home with any minis today. We're just here to look, right? You don't want to get excited the first day. And we looked at about 30 mini donkeys and mini horses, and I took 1,000 pictures, and there was a bunch of really cute, sets, if you will. But I just didn't feel it.
Yeah.
I wasn't vibing with any of them, so to speak. So we were starting to leave, and the director goes, oh, wait, I have this other barn. Our neighbors let us keep some of the rescues there because there's just so many that we keep getting. We don't want to turn anyone away, but they're kind of an odd couple. And my ears perked, and I was like, oh. And we turn the corner, and I see basically like from their hooves to the top of their ears, so with their little head, standing up, they're about 3 feet tall. So I see this gray 3 foot tall donkey with like super tall ears. It's like half her height, right? And a short, very round dwarf mini horse with crazy blonde hair. And I was like, I'll take him.
Yeah.
So then we spent the next, hour or so just hanging with them, checking out their temperament to see if they liked people, because I needed them to like people if I was going to visit people in the city and have cars blaring and sirens going and people just reaching out to touch them because they're so cute, and I would too. So they passed the test. They passed the temperament test. They love people. I picked up each of their little hooves, and they were totally okay with that. I made funny sounds with, like a garbage bag behind them, and they didn't kick out, because that's important. You want to make sure they're not going to kick out at anybody.
Many can still do some damage.
Many can still do some damage. So they passed all the tests, and the rescue wanted to make sure that they were coming home to an appropriate place to live, which I totally respect. So yeah, a couple months later, actually 9 days before our wedding, they came to live at the ranch. And then I got married, and we went away on a month-long honeymoon, which was fantastic. But I was like, oh yeah, I have these things at home now. And I just started a nonprofit, and I better get myself organized. So basically, I want to have these guys accessible to anybody that could use a little equine therapy. So I'm currently raising funds to buy a minivan for the minis.
With big fake plastic ears sticking up on them for
Vanessa.
Vanessa.
Good idea. I was just going to have my husband, who's a photographer, take a picture and then plaster it on either side. So even if you can't see the minis, you get to see the minis. Maybe one on the back too. But anyway, once I get the minivan, I'm going to go visit kids at school, people at the hospital, people stuck behind the desk that, sometimes don't even leave the office, on a full work day. They're like, oh, whoops, I forgot to go outside today. And I went in at 8 and I came out at 8. I also want to visit, like I said, homeless people on Market Street. Just anybody. I want to remind people that there are different forms of communicating, which when you're in front of a little horse or a little donkey, you adjust to right away. But when you're in front of somebody with special needs, or maybe that just communicates a little differently, for some reason it takes us longer to adjust to other people's form of communication.
Right.
So by putting this fuzzy, adorable thing in your face, hopefully it reminds you like, oh yeah, and oh yeah, there's nature, and oh yeah, I should care about things around me. Hence the name Caring Cowgirl. So I'm hoping that Caring Cowgirl can be a reminder to care about yourself and the people around you, and maybe to also just be a little more patient with people around you. So yeah, so as soon as we get the minivan, we're going to be going to visit folks in San Francisco, and hopefully one day we can get horses back at Golden Gate Park.
That's an admirable goal.
Yeah.
Because you said back, there used to be horses there?
There used to be horses there. There are still the old polo stables, because there was a polo field. I mean, there still is a polo field there, but now it's used for other recreational uses. Another fun fact, there's sprinklers there now, so you cannot have a horse on the polo field anymore.
Ouch, yeah.
But the polo stables are still standing, and then right next to them are the San Francisco Police Mounted Unit. They're still there. And there's still an organization called the San Francisco County Horsemen's Association.
Oh.
So it's this club that meets once a month, and they do community outreach. They have like horse day at Golden Gate Park once a year, which is super awesome. But I want to be an advocate for SFHA, San Francisco Horsemen's Association, to get all of what used to be the horsey community of San Francisco reignited.
Yeah.
You know? Have a hoedown at the park. Like I said, I've grown up with horses, and it wasn't because I had a bunch of money. My mom was a single mom from central Mexico, but we lived in a small town, and it was still affordable to have livestock. And I just want kids to have that chance. So I work with horses 9 to 5. That's what I do for a living. I take people out on horseback rides throughout the South Bay area. But I also want to build up Caring Cowgirl to where that is my full-time job. I'm throwing these little ladies in the minivan, and I'm just like the ice cream girl or the ice cream man or whatever, you know, honking the horn, and kids come out and they're like, Vanessa, Shakira. Which, by the way, I named them both. I named Shakira. Vanessa came with that name, and I liked it. But I changed it to Shakira because I wanted both their names to be bilingual in Spanish and English. So she's also named Shakira because her hips don't lie.
Don't forget to visit caringcowgirl.org to donate and help Liz be able to transport the minis to San Francisco. Join us next week when we'll hear from John Law, an artist and co-founder of the Cacophony Society. Music for the podcast is by Otis McDonald. Film photography is by Michelle Kilfeather. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date on everything we do. Find all 70 episodes on our website, storiedsf.com, and wherever you listen to podcasts. If that happens to be Apple Podcasts and you have a couple minutes, please rate and review the show for us. Send comments or suggestions to storiedsf@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.